As a young child, Toom Chanda's mother became separated from her parents during the turmoil that occurred after the Laotian Civil War ended in 1975. More than 2 decades would pass before she could be reunited with her family in Wisconsin. Toom was born in Laos and immigrated to the United States as a child. He took an interest in martial arts at a young age, and by his early 20s was the owner of several Wisconsin Muay Thai gyms. He would use his martial arts skills to kickstart a Hollywood career by working as a stuntman and extra before going on to found his own film production company. It wasn't all bright lights and red carpets for Toom. John and Co. will talk to Toom about navigating through Lao, Hmong, and American culture as a child, as well as the success and disappointment that comes with pursuing an acting and filmmaking career.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of C4 Podcast, C4 Southeast Asian Athlete Achievement Through Adversity. My name is Coach Chanda. I'm here with my co-host John or Giovanni Messina and my special guest Toom Chanda. John, I'm going to send it over to you and you can introduce our guest.
Yeah, Toom, we're really excited to have you on the show here. We really do appreciate it. What's got me excited about your interview and Co excited about your interview is, Co came from Laos as a child right after the war. My family, I'm married into a Laos family. My wife's family came over right after the war. She left in 1975 as a child. And most of our guests have left Cambodia or Laos at that age, or their parents left right after the war. We're excited because you were actually born in post-war Laos, and actually kind of came over later, I would say, than most people. You weren't part of that first wave in the 70s, right? You came over in a unique way a little bit later. So we're really excited to hear about that because it's a completely new perspective for both us and most of the people listening, as well as, Co has an incredible story, which we'll tell on a later podcast episode. But he had a foot in two cultures, right? The Lao culture, the American culture growing up. We're excited to talk to you because you had a foot in three cultures and you only have 2 feet. You kind of had to probably transition between Hmong, Lao, and the American culture. So we're excited to hear about that, and then as well as the endeavors that you're working on now. So we like to start at the beginning, and you have such an interesting family story back in Laos. So why don't you start back in Laos? Really, how it was that your parents and you didn't come over right after the war, and how they got here later, and your time growing up in Laos as a young child.
Oh, okay. Yes. I just first of all I want to say thanks for having me on your show, and I'm really excited to share my story and my journey. So I was born in 1990 in Ban Hai, Laos, Muang Pak Ngum. So it's about like 45 minutes to the capital.
Okay.
Yeah. So Muang Pak Ngum is like you could cross the Mekong River to Nam Ngum to the Mekong River to Thailand. So that's okay. How close we are to Thai. Yep. So yeah. So I was born in the 90s, and I was born in poverty and stuff. We didn't have any like uniform, no school supplies, so I didn't even go to school much. Like my dad's generation, he never get to go to school because lack of supplies, and you need to have like some uniform, right? So I mean the generation wasn't very up there. Ever since he had me, I've been living the same way he does too. Like liang kuai, like go help out in the rice field, instead of going to school, help out with, taking care of like water buffalo. So I've been that kid. So yeah, but I'm just like pretty fortunate because when I came to America, it was 1997. My grandma and grandpa on my mom's side of the family, they are Hmong. They sponsor my mom and my dad to USA. So I was fortunate enough to leave the poverty and have a better life in America. So we came here in 97. Yep.
Okay, so then your dad's side of the family, the grandparents, the uncles, are they still back in Laos?
Yes, they are still back in Laos. And my dad actually is actually half Thai, half Laotian. So my grandpa, he is actually he's actually Laotian, but then he was helping the royal family of the Laos, so he changed his last name. So he used my grandma's last name, Thai last name, so he could stay hidden from the from the comments. Yeah. So yeah, so we used the last name Gongkel, and then in 2015, before my grandpa passed away, he finally told me that, hey, your real last name is Chandavong, and I just cut it short to make it Chanda for for us.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, my last name is Shanta Duangsi, and we shorten it to Chandetka. So
okay.
Same thing, Chanta. Tell us how was it growing up till you're, growing up in Laos in the 90s? Do you remember much at 5, 6, 7 years old? Do you remember?
I remember when I was 5, my parents was always like, all in the rice field or doing, selling stuff just to make a living. So I was just left home alone. I'm the only son they had. So I usually like just sometimes go help my grandma out on the rice field, or just, hang out with friends, but ever since I don't remember much, because I didn't really go to school. Every time I go to school, I always get kicked out because we don't have any like school supplies or uniform. Sometimes I had to borrow my cousin. So the next day he go and the next day I go. So
yeah.
So it's really, very it was something that I grew up with, and like right now I want to give back to the community, where one day if I make it, I just want to go back there and we have like a foundation right now to give back to the people, which I have to all less fortunate.
Yeah, I read about that, and I was like, I'm very touched by that, by you, wanting to do that, wanting to give back, especially, coming here, becoming successful, and some people forget, where they came from, and they move ahead and they celebrate their success, but they forget their roots. So for you to, embark in that type of journey to give back, school supplies, helping with electricity, water, that's really awesome. I love it.
Yes.
So your mom must have not seen her family for a long time, because back then it was not easy to go back and forth. Now it's open, right? But in, say, the early 90s, 80s, you didn't go back and forth to Laos, right?
No. Actually, my mom was lost during the Vietnam War. There's another story. There's a newspaper on her and everything. She was during the Vietnam War, when everybody left to Thailand. The Vietnamese, they shot the rope, so she fell down to the Mekong River, to the Laotian side, and she was adopted by Laotian people. So it's been 2 decades before my grandma and grandpa, the Hmong side of the family, found out my mom's still alive. So yeah, and then I guess like 1980, 88, 89, that's when they found my mom. So yeah, and it was a long process before my mom can and our family can come to America. So it's almost 8 years, some years. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. So you were born in that time, because they came over, unlike the earlier people that came on refugee visas, which was sort of quick. They probably came through family sponsorship, right? Which can take years with all the paperwork and that. Wow, that's an incredible story.
Yeah. So actually, my mom's some part, right? She did all the paperwork. They said that only me and my mom can come to America, and my mom's like, nope, if my husband's not going, I'm not going. So then they delay 4 more years, and then,
oh wow,
and the family over here were fighting for it, and then they're like, well, my daughter and my grandson's not coming, so they had to fight for it, and yeah, it took 4 or 5 years, and then that's why it took a long time. I could have been 1 year old when I came to USA, but I guess it took pretty long. So.
Where did you guys end up in America? What city?
We flew to Chicago, and then and then all the family live in Wisconsin.
Yeah. Where are you from, Wisconsin? My kids live in the Milwaukee area. Where are you from, Wisconsin?
I'm in Appleton, so Milwaukee is like an hour and a half from us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think my daughter had like a volleyball tournament up I think Appleton or Fond du Lac, so right up there.
Oh, cool.
Do you notice a lot of Lao people there, or more of a Hmong community in Appleton?
More of the Hmong community, yes. So like the Lao family, my dad has his family side too. They're all in like Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah, down south. So
yeah, I was in Milwaukee, and it's funny because you Lao people there. You got the Hmong community there, but like when I'd work out and go to the gym, you know, it was always the Hmong guys that were more friendly to me, that wanted to talk to me and wanted to work out with me. You know, like the Lao guys didn't want nothing to do with me. So, but yeah, tell us about your high school years. Tell us about how you got into martial arts.
High school year, I mean, it was a challenge when I first came to USA. I started second grade. No, actually, I started third grade. They wouldn't accept me second grade, so I have to stay home and teach myself. Which like my auntie, my uncle, you know, they buy books, they teach me, and they're like, yeah, you can't go to school until you're third grade. So when I went to a third grade, I can't speak Hmong, I can't speak English. I could only speak Laotian, you know.
Yeah.
And it was pretty tough. It took me about 5 years just to, you know, get pretty used to English and stuff. And but yeah, like when I got to high school, I mean, I did some martial art when I was a kid. My grandpa, he does Muay Lao back in Laos. So he taught me a little bit here and there, but you know, I wish I would have grew up and learned the full Muay Lao technique and the culture.
Yeah.
But when I came to USA, when I was a little kid, I told my grandma, I'm like, hey, I want to be an action star, you know, and I'm pretty sure ever since that day when I was 6 years old, I told my grandma I want to be an action star. And when I came to USA, I'm like, I need to continue doing martial art. So I do what I can, you know. I just go into like karate school, taekwondo. I left my Muay Thai Muay Lao roots behind, you know, because nobody does it, you know. When I came in, and nobody know what Muay Thai Muay Lao is until Ombak came out, like about 2005.
Yeah.
So I did some Muay Thai, and they're like, "What is that?" I said, "Muay Lao." I don't know what that is. I'm like, okay, never mind. Let's do yours. I said. So we did like karate, taekwondo, wrestling, boxing, and you know, MMA. So I'm like, I don't care as long as it's martial art. Because I want to be an action star. I need it. So I continue on ever since I was a third grade. I continue on all the way to high school year. So,
who was your role model growing up? Bruce Lee? What?
So actually, it was Jet Li.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It was Jet Li, and then Bruce Lee, and then Jackie Chan. So
yeah,
those were my role models.
Yeah.
they're like my Avengers, you know, back in the day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I stress that that's so important to have like superheroes. Like I think like when I came to the States and I was 4, my superheroes were the comic book guys, were the Spider-Mans and you know, Captain America. There was no one from Laos that I could look up to as far as saying, hey, because I knew I wanted to be a champion bodybuilder. You know, I wanted to be like you said, like a superhero, right?
Right.
But there weren't any. I don't know. Do you remember? I'm with Dan. I'm with Keo. Remember those guys?
Yes. Like I'm with Dan.
Yeah. John. I don't know if you heard it. It's called Ant-Man, and there's these superheroes, and one guy's green, one guy's red, and they would ride around in motorcycles. And I think they did some martial arts. Like, you know, those were our Laotian superheroes growing up. So.
All right. Yeah, I missed those. So
ask your wife. Ask your wife. She would know.
I'll ask her if she knows them for sure. But yeah, your journey there and even your early years in America were interesting because so you came from Laos, in the Laotian speaking community and the Laotian culture, the Lao culture, and then you come here, but the family's Hmong, and even your family didn't speak the same language as you, right? Because they spoke probably English and Hmong. And you didn't speak either. Just how was it kind of adapting to like those two new cultures at one time, really, American and Hmong?
Oh, it was like mind blowing, you know. It was like, and back then I was a kid, so I didn't know any better, you know. I didn't think about it. All I know was just like, what's going on? I can't speak the language. That's it. I just play around. It just came to me, you know. So all my Hmong family are very supportive. They've been teaching me a lot of Hmong. They've been really patient with me, and like every weekend, they always have gathering. They're like, hey, Toom, come, let's let me teach you some words. I pick up here and there, and yeah, it's I got it. It just came in natural. So I guess.
Yeah, it's good.
Did you notice you connected or was accepted by one group or the other?
Well, when I was a kid, I didn't know anybody. I didn't think anything. But when I was in middle school, that's when I realized, man, like I'm half, right? I'm half breed. Sometimes I go to like the Hmong people, they always say, oh,เป็นคนเล่าบอกเล่า, they're like, he's Laotian, it kind of hurt me too, and when I go to Laotian, I travel back to Laos, they're like, oh, but Hmong, like he's Hmong. I'm like, it's funny, it's still stuck to my head nowadays. So
it's funny now. Not at that time, it wasn't funny, but I remember that too. It was that, I wasn't, they didn't, like I said, me coming early at 4 years old, I was the first Laotian kid, and then 5 years later everybody came. So by that time I was like, wow, Laotian friends, and they looked at me like, you're American, you don't look like us, you don't act like us, Of course, America, like I was different, I was Laos. So but when you're sharing that, it made me want to laugh because but not back then. Back then it was kind of challenging.
Yeah. But now, like everybody's like, damn, that's cool, man.
Things have changed.
John and I just talked about that. Now it's cool.
Yeah. So Co made a joke and mentioned. So I go by John, but my real name's Giovanni. My family's Italian. But when we were growing up, I'm about the same age as Co. It just wasn't cool for anybody to be different, right? Now, like you said, I think things have changed, and it is kind of cool to be different now. So, yeah. Well, you opened up several Muay Thai, Muay Lao gyms at a pretty young age. How did you get into that, and how did you manage those?
Well, like I said, when I went to learn a lot of martial art and technique, I pick up here and there. So I'm pretty much like a self-taught. So I just I didn't know anything about go fighting in the ring. I just watched Muay Thai with my dad at home, and I'm like, man, I wish my grandpa was here to teach me. I'm like, I'm gonna go sign up one day, but I never told my dad because he would, he would be like, "Ah, me," right? So, because they want to protect you, my parents want to protect us. So I'm like, I went to sign up. I went to tournaments, and first couple of times, I got beat, right? So I got beat like one or twice, and then I didn't have no coach in my side. I just go and fight, right? And then ever since that day, I'm like, I'm gonna keep training. I'm gonna do it again, and until ever since that two lost, I've been winning. So I've been winning streaks. So and then I found out like, oh, I have something that I can be proud of, and that I can show that, hey, my martial art is actually working out, but I never wanted to be a champion. So I'm like, maybe I'm gonna try it out, what works and what doesn't work, and apply to Movi for all those techniques. And but before the Movi, I'm like, I'm gonna retire as a fighter first. So I retired at 25. I started fighting when I was like around 15, 16. Yeah, all the way until 25. And then I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be a champion. I mean, I won here and there, a lot of trophy and all the stuff. It's just like, it's not me, I'm gonna give back to the community. So I actually opened up a martial arts school, and I want to teach the young kids who are less fortunate and all the stuff. So I didn't charge him a lot. I charge him because I see out of school, they charge so much, and kids are like, I can see in their eyes, and like, I want to learn, but their parents couldn't afford it. So I opened up a school in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. And the first month, I had like 20 students. I'm like, wow, already, And then it took me 5 years just to get 800 students. So I opened up an opportunity.
What was that, 5 years, 800 students?
Yes, I had two schools. Yeah. Wow. And they're like, what is Muay Lao? I only know Muay Thai from Ong Bak, but I want to listen to Muay Lao. I'm like, okay, come in. I said, so yeah, so I mean, like I teach the kids from 4 all the way into like in the 75 years old. So yeah.
What was the name of what did you name your school?
The first school I named was K1, so K and then one ONE, martial arts. Those are just for like the kids and teenagers.
Yeah.
And then the one in Appleton I called Muay Lao and Muay Thai. So
Nice.
those are for like for the athletes. So the Appleton one I train athletes to go fight in the wings and in the cage.
Okay.
The one in Sheboygan I teach the kids and the teens. It's more about life skills than just fighting.
Yeah.
So that's what I teach in that other school. Mhm.
How did you get into, now are you still doing that, or have you moved on to more acting?
I move on to more acting. So
Okay.
I actually hand it down to my student. I'm like, hey, who want to be teaching? So I teach him all the technique, all the skills I know, and I want you guys to pass down.
Yeah.
So I actually move on, and I'm pursuing my real goal, my real dream now, as
Which is acting.
in acting. Yeah, acting, filmmaking. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How did that start? What was the process of did you have to go to acting school? Did you do a bunch of auditions? How did that go?
Yeah, it was a funny story. I think it was like 3 years ago where they had an audition for Power Ranger. I think they did an opening audition to be a Power Ranger called Beast Morpher. I believe I was like the last one who got picked to be the Blue Power Ranger. But then director contacted me. Like, Toom, I'm sorry, producer didn't want you. But then I realized I don't have acting skill. I have the martial art, but I don't have the acting skill. And I'm like, I was devastated. I'm like, like out of thousands of people, I was the last one, the last two. There's only two people, and then I got bumped. So I'm like, oh my god. So I need to work on my acting. So that's why I started filmmaking, and I keep auditioning. I learned experience from auditioning to do commercial, short film, feature film. In like minority, like us, on minority, under minority, it's hard to get audition. It's hard to get those roles because they, like in America, they don't have those roles for us. That's why I actually made my own production and cast myself. That's when I learned the auto experience. That's when I get all my acting experience from. So it's self-taught because all that martial art comes into my head. Okay, I got to reteach myself because there's nothing for me that I can look up to. Nobody look up to, and nobody can help me. And I'm like, I got to be that person. So
yeah,
that's why I started the production. And I'm like, okay, let me cast myself. Let me do it first, and then I could cast other people come in. So that way I can be a good actor. I know how filmmaking works and stuff. Because acting school is very expensive, and I don't have that luxury. Yeah. So,
yes. So I know you've had some successful auditions. Tell us about some of the shows that you may have been on that people would recognize.
I mean, I did a lot of commercial that I got in. It was like golf commercial, insurance commercial, whiskey commercial, fireball commercial. Pretty much it's like a little clip of video, and sometimes just like a picture of me, on the site and stuff. It wasn't much, and I told my agent, I'm like, I want to move on to something big. So they had me audition for like TV shows like Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, and all the stuff. Like I said, they don't have like the role for us, as an Asian. It's very hard. So I'm like, okay, it's fine. I'll just be an extra. So I learned a lot being an extra on like Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Empire. I get to meet like a lot of A-list actors like Taraji, Terrence Howell, Brian T. I mean, that was my acting school. So I just sit there and watch them act. I'm like, wow, So I use that opportunity. So like you can see me in a couple of episodes, like as an extra and stuff. I'm also on Netflix being an extra. And ever since that time, I'm like, I don't want to be an extra no more. And somebody called me up. They saw me on Facebook, like, hey, I like the martial art. Can you be a stuntman for me? I'm like, okay, well, let's go. So I did stunt for a lot of big movies, like a feature film, like There was a fan film called G.I. Joe. I helped them. I was Snake Eye. So I actually did stunts for them. I did stunts for a lot of movies, which we had to sign an NDA, and we can't, say it until the movie is released. I did a lot of short film stunts, and then I'm like, I can do stunts, but it's not for me. I want to get into acting. I want to be in front of the camera. So right now, I'm actually casting a feature film. It's a independent movie in a Hmong film. And then another one is like 2 more short film that's coming out. I can't say that right now. And 1 film in Thailand, but it's not coming out yet until we do the whole process. So that's what's going on right now. So that's all I have for being my journey as an actor. Yeah, and it's only been 2-3 years. So.
Wow. So the new films that you're working on now, are they like directed towards like Southeast Asia, towards Thailand, Laos, Hmong, or are they more like mainstream towards like the Western world?
A lot of my short film when I started, I want to go mainstream. But right now, like if I do like a Hmong short film, I'm not gonna forget my Hmong community. So I've been doing more of short film for my Hmong community. But for the feature film, like for the full movie, I want to do mainstream. I want to go international. So right now I'm working on an action movie. It's called For Her Only. So it's like, have you guys seen The Weight Redemption?
Yeah.
From Iko Uwe. Yeah, so it's like The Weight Redemption with Pursuit of Happiness. So with a unique storyline of it's about like a father who would do anything he can to protect his daughter, from like CPS, from like child services, and and how to provide for her and all the stuff, but with good action.
Okay.
Yes. So we're thinking of filming that sometime next year, because action movie needs a lot of funding. If you want to go mainstream, you have to have a lot of funding for an action movie. So that's why we are preparing to save up some money just to make that film the best as possible. I want to show our culture that we can do the same thing as Hollywood can. So
yeah.
Yeah. So did you guys write it, the whole script and everything?
Yes. I actually write every movie that I do. I wrote it myself, because every movie that I seen it's like based on a true story. Like the movie right now, a full movie that I'm doing is called Sleep Paralysis. I have that a lot. So when I was a young kid, I grew out of it right now. So I'm doing that Sleep Paralysis movie, and it's actually like a true life story. So every movie that I come out with is always that either happened to me or know that it happened to somebody. So I write it, I wrote it myself, I direct it, and I edit and I shoot the movie myself. So yeah.
That's incredible. But you do have a team, right? Toon Stunt
Yes,
team?
I do have a team. Yes. I have a team. So like I said, like when I started this, like they're like me. They have nobody to look up to and nobody to look for, like a guide, right? So I'm right there and I'm like, hey, okay, you want to act? You want to act? Okay, show me what you can do. Let's do it. And they all come help me, like like set up lights, help me like assist with the camera, help me think of like brainstorming like on the script. Like sometimes we revise the script and stuff. So they do help me a lot. We have about 20 people in our production right now.
Oh,
So
wow.
are you filming on location, like in Wisconsin, or do you have to film where, like you said, there's one in Thailand, so you're gonna have to go to Thailand to film that one, right?
Yeah. So like the short film right now, like low budget, we film in Minnesota or in Wisconsin here. But for the Thailand and Laos, yes, we'll definitely have to go overseas for that one. I mean, it's cheaper because the stuntman and the actor over there is cheaper. So yeah, and the food are cheap. So I mean, it's a win-win. So
Yeah.
Now, are you finding out right now, like, are the borders even open in Thailand, or do you have to wait? I'm not sure what the scenario is right now. I think it's still closed, isn't it?
It's open.
Okay.
But it's like a process that you have to go. through. My friend right now, he just went there like last month.
Okay.
And he just got to get like fully vaccinated, and he's got to have like maybe 3 days quarantine. And if his temperature are good, then good to go. And you got to buy insurance. You got to buy insurance, like $50,000 insurance to cover you. So yeah.
So maybe I'm thinking the Lao border is closed, like Lao and Thai.
Yeah, Lao border is closed, so
yeah.
Can't go there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. So what are some of the is funding is a big challenge, right? And then time management probably. Tell us about some of the challenges as you kind of launch this film company.
The challenge is that if you don't have fundings, it's very hard because you gotta pay for location. You know, we could pull a few string like favor here and there to get location in our community, but sometimes like we need like a good location that will have a nice scenery. It's hard to find. We have to pay like a house. Food is the most important thing. So you have to pay your crew, your actors, your actress, you know, and then transportation, equipment. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So funding, yeah, like I said, you don't have the funds and you can't make it, you know. But our team's been very good with that lately. For a short film, we actually raised money here and there, just like sell some egg rolls or do a little fundraising, you know, just to do like make our short film. So it's like, but the big movie, we need a lot of money to make the big movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'd love to see it happen. So I wish you all the success. You know. John, you got anything?
Yeah. So how could people listening, you know, support you guys, help you out? You know, what could the community do and the people that follow the Lao American Sports Hall of Fame do to support you two? Because a lot of them, I think, want to support and help.
So right now I have a big project that's coming up. It's called Sleep Paralysis, Demon in the Bedroom. I want to do that because it's more relatable to people. What I want to do is to make the action movie. I want to film this movie first. I want to bring this movie out to the Laotian community, to the Hmong community, and to the mainstream. So I would like to screen this movie after I finish to a lot of the Laotians, you know, where Laotian people are in the city. So when a movie come out, I would like to connect with you guys again, and you guys can help me, find a location where I could, you know, screen my movie, like, you know, in your town or, you know, maybe your local lounge or, you know. So I mean, you could do like a little fundraising, like, hey, come watch the movie, you know, for like, you know, $10 or something. That it's like a fundraiser to make a bigger movie budget, which we have a movement and a foundation to help the less fortunate people in the country. So that's what we're doing. You know, we're not trying to be famous. We're not trying to, you know, make money. We're trying to do something where the people have hope on us. You know, so we just want to keep creating, keep showing people that, hey, we can create something with small thing and, you know, help spread the love.
Yeah. Love it. I love the ideas. I love the, you know, love the mission where you guys give back, you know, help out with school supplies and all that stuff. And you know what advice can you give to, I don't know, like a 7-year-old kid, you know, like living in Laos, and he wants to, and he says he wants to be a superhero. What advice would you give yourself at 7 today? To encourage
I would tell him, hey, you know, stick with your dreams. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. Keep fighting for it. And the people who say no will soon say yes. So use the no as you feel to keep burning, soar through the sky, and never give up.
All right.
There's always a way. Like I tell people, if they shut the door on you, you go through the back door. They shut, you go to the side door. They shut, you go to the window. There's always option, you know.
Yeah. If you want it bad enough, you'll get there. So again, all the success to you, man. That's I'm like really looking forward to seeing your new projects and everything.
Yeah, and really, Toom, that's what the Lao American Sports Hall of Fame is all about, inspiring people. And we've talked to so many people that have really chased their dreams, oftentimes, against the advice of their families, like Co, right? When somebody like you, who's incredibly talented, could probably go get a full-time job somewhere and make good money, um, uh, you know, but you're still finding time to push through and pursue your dreams. So we really respect that, and we think it's inspiring to a lot of the other people out there. So thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah.
How can people? Where should people follow you online?
You can follow me on my Facebook. It's called Toom Chanda, T-O-O and M and then CHANDA. And my YouTube channel is Toom Stunt Team at gmail.com. So let me show my back.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. Cool.
There you go.
Cool,
There
cool.
you go. That's awesome. Yeah. So everybody listening, follow Toom, and this way you'll know when these projects are complete and they start to go out, and try to support them as best you can. So thank you, Toom, for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The C4 podcast is brought to you by the Lao American Sports Hall of Fame. Visit us on the web at laoamericansports.com, celebrating the first, inspiring the next.